just you can either a slightly different from what they are, or we talk, you see things are not normal.
Welcome to Strange Familiars. If you've seen something strange, a cryptid like Bigfoot, a UFO, a ghost, anything paranormal, or if you know of a story you think we should cover, you can email us, strangefamiliarspodcast@gmail.com. How you doing tonight, Allison?
I'm well.
So we're going back to Site 7.
No, we are not going back to Site 7. I have only been there once and not at night, so I don't know what happens there. I just hear all these amazing stories, and I'm just...
I was so pleased to have people other than Chad and me. So John and Laura came with us. I didn't expect there to be anything, because when I took Soraya, there was nothing, or very little. There was a little flash of light here and there, but very little. And when I took Joshua, there was absolutely nothing.
Do you think this is dependent on the person you bring with you? Or
It might be.
Oh, I'm not going to see anything, am I?
I don't know. Well, see, John was pretty determined to debunk this.
Yeah.
He says on the recording, you can hear that he did go in with an open mind. He didn't go in thinking it was necessarily going to be nothing. But some other things I've said there in the past, he's kind of been like, well, it might be this, it might be that, sort of offering up natural explanations. And I pretty much think he went in kind of expecting to
find the easy way to figure out what it is.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you just didn't think that it's this. And...
Yeah, and honestly, I was thinking, like, it's probably not going to manifest, because it hasn't sometimes before, and that's just the luck of it. And John would leave thinking, I don't know what Tim's seeing up there, But John left a believer in weird lights. That's all I can say.
So are you walking up so high that you're, like, you really should have a Sherpa and you're losing oxygen, and that's why you're seeing things? Or
It is technically a mountain, but it's not a very high mountain. You've been there.
It's not a mountain.
It's a large hill.
I've
really
seen mountains. It's not a mountain.
I don't know when a hill becomes a mountain. I don't know what point that is, but
it's somewhere after a molehill.
I read somewhere that this is technically a mountain that we climbed up. Amounts to a steep hill, basically. So no, we weren't oxygen deprived. Very strange. Very strange.
So have you been keeping track of seasonally when you see these things? Like, is there a component where, like, in April I see these things, but by July I don't?
The only thing I tell people is February is absolutely the best time to see them. And I think
leaves?
I think it's 100% because the leaves are off the tree.
So something might be there, you just might not see it as much because of the leaves?
I think that might be the case. The lights came right to the edge of the trees.
How close to you?
At times within 6 feet, and then John actually describes one time falling to his knees and trying to grab one.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like, did you try to touch it?
John did. And it just... Well, you'll hear about it.
Okay. I did see him. He has both his hands, so it's not as dramatic as...
Before we get into the Site 7 stuff, I want to thank our patrons. Thank you so much, patrons. As I always say, and it's true, without your help, we could not do Strange Familiars. We could not bring you the content that we do. So thank you very much. If you like what you hear, if you like the content we bring you from Strange Familiars and you want to help, you can go to Patreon, patreon.com/strangefamiliars. For $3 a month, you get full extra episodes of Strange Familiars. We promise at least one full extra episode every month. Often we give more than that. I think we did 2 last month, and I think 2 the month before. We try to give our patrons as much content as we can. There are different levels of support there you can check out. Get everything from pins and stickers and patches to t-shirts and copies of my books and music and more. Again, that's patreon.com/strangefamiliars. If you don't like the idea of a monthly subscription like Patreon and you want to help, go to strangefamiliars.com and look in the show notes under every episode. You'll see a paypal.me link where you can make a one-time donation. Everyone can help by sharing the show on social media, by liking and subscribing wherever you're listening, and by leaving us those nice 5-star reviews, which helps get the show in front of new potential listeners. So Laura, John, Chad, and I went on this hike, and I brought them all back in for a Skype conversation to talk about it. We'll start with that, and then we'll go into some on-site recordings, and then we'll come back and talk to everybody again. So as with every on-site show, I have to give the caveat that the audio levels are all over the place. I think it's even worse with 4 of us versus 2. It's usually just me and Chad. So with 4 of us, there's just more people further socially distanced, and the levels are therefore all over the place. So I apologize for that, but I think it's worth the listen.
I think it was. Definitely was. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No worries. The booms and bangs you hear are fireworks. There were fireworks going off in a nearby town, I believe, when we were doing this. Sometimes they sound very close, but that is the magic of Site 7. Sometimes things far away sound very close. The bleeps you hear are to obscure details which would give away the location of Site 7. Let's introduce everybody. Laura's here. How are you doing, Laura?
Good, how are you?
All right. And John is back with us. John?
Hey, everybody. Happy to be here.
And Chad's here as well. Hey, Chad.
Hey, everybody.
A bit of a round table tonight. So on May 23rd, we did a little socially distanced hike into Site 7. 2 of you had never been, and Chad, you'd never been to this part of Site 7. So it's kind of new ground for everybody but me. And I'd never been in this part at night either. So, Laura, wasn't what you thought, was it, Site 7? Listening to the shows before, it wasn't what you thought it would be.
No, not at all.
It never is. It never is for people. And a lot of times people are like, oh, is this it? But then night falls and things are different. John, I'm assuming the same for you, or you had a sort of an idea where it was. You just weren't entirely sure, right?
Yeah, I had an idea of where it was. I definitely had a mental image of it that was very different than what it actually was. Yeah, I had a sense of the location, but not really the layout of the land.
Mm-hmm, gotcha. So what we did is we hiked in from the river, from the east side. Now, where we have been looking at the lights, we've always come in from the west side on the top of the mountain and kind of look, not really down the mountains, but a kind of across through the woods at these lights. So we had this brilliant idea to start late in the afternoon and hike from the river up the mountain and kind of approach the lights from the back side. We ended up looking at them really more from the side than the back. It wasn't possible to get behind them necessarily. Some neat things to note. Before we saw any lights, we heard this owl going off, which was a great horned owl, I believe. And at some point in this, as I was editing this, at some point we make the note that the owl was in the same location as the brightest light. At least it sounded like it was coming from that location.
I think it was, Tim, because later on, as we were leaving, and I'm not going to say what happened because, obviously we'll have that later on. That's where I was standing because I had moved closer to the hooting.
Right.
And that's where it seemed to have, it seemed like it was really like down in there. Mm-hmm. So to me, at least,
I'm just going to go ahead and play what I have of the on-site recordings. We didn't turn the recorders on until we got into the area where the lights are. We got there, I guess it was starting to get dark right when we got there. I'm just going to play all that audio right now, and we'll talk about our impressions after this plays. So, very quietly, we are deep in Site 7.
Deep. So deep.
Deep in Site 7.
Deep. Found a old dam so far.
Yeah.
That we didn't know was back in here. Old. At least I'd say late 1800s, early 1900s.
So you may hear different voices. So John is with us.
Hey everyone.
Chad's here.
Hey, hello.
And Laura's here.
Hey.
And it's getting dark.
Yeah.
So gradually here. What's today's date? I've lost it.
Today is 23rd.
Of May 2020. And we're on our social distancing hike, so standing so far apart, all the more for something to grab one of us.
Yeah, I like how I stepped back a little bit when you said that.
Grab one of us.
You're already programmed.
I'm programmed.
You're programmed.
I have acclimated to the new reality.
And if you get close to Tim, he tries to hit you with his staff. I found that out.
This is one social distance away.
It is. I don't want to get within reach of that. So we're on a road. The road itself. We'll walk around above the ravine. It's quite a ravine too.
Shit is. I think this is your source right here. This one.
So what we've done, what I've never done before at night, is we've come up behind the light. And I guess if everyone's up for it, we're going to stay here for a while and see what happens.
Yeah.
They usually start what about dark? I mean, when I was here before, they started.
Yeah, they
didn't
really
take long.
really go off about a little later, but
Honestly, we're so far in that we're here after dark regardless at this point.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we got either way. It's gonna.
Yeah, it's getting dark before we get out of here.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this.
I hope we can see them. I really do, because we just haven't had luck with leaves on the trees before. Seems like February is the time to see them, but I did see them in April with Soraya, but there's so many leaves on the trees, it's like you could just see them for a second, and then
Yeah.
and they were gone. I don't know if it was the leaves blowing or. So if you imagine we're standing like we look off if we're facing this way, it's to our left. In here, where we're seeing them.
Wow. I mean,
There's
that's
no
a
way the
total
lights are
reach.
coming from that road. Not the way you saw. We had to go around the mountain, and usually we see them in the ravine.
When I'm realizing you're not staring through a hill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now some of them are up.
Mm-hmm.
But the really weird ones that change color and stuff
Or down in the ravine.
tend to be down lower.
So the last thing I saw when I was here, it was almost like somebody had when you see at a concert, you see a laser light to go like that.
Yeah.
It looked like that, but they were white beams. It was almost as if like a car beams coming through. No source, just the beam.
Yeah.
And we were seeing arcs.
At some point, it looked like somebody had, if you can imagine somebody
Multiple
having
flashlights.
juggling.
Juggling flashlights. Yeah.
And it was coming from the ravine up into the trees, and you can see the beams going like
That's
this.
the only time I've ever seen that.
And it would start at the back, and then come towards us, and then stop right about here. So back there is where the source is.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is it's moving uphill.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a clown in a bunny suit juggling flashlights.
Well,
He saw a clown in the field, or bunny suit.
Bunny
man
Man.
in the field.
Bunny Man.
Yeah, I saw a bunny man. I've not seen any strange clowns, thankfully.
No, I suggest we.
If there's lights to see, we should start seeing them.
Is it usually when it's this light out?
Yeah.
When Chad and I were here, I'd never actually been here as it got dark. When we were here, before it got crazy, we were able to see him this early. Yeah.
Down in the ravine.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, Tim, when the leaves are off the trees, that those, ones that are going like this,
Mm-hmm.
they're following this corridor up here. Where it's
Could have been.
kind of clear.
Yeah, could have
You know what I mean?
been. Mm-hmm.
So I was down there, I was hearing noises up on the far side. And there was one down inside, but it might have been just the coyotes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I had to record a run, so I picked up something.
So even when we're up there, you have to find the angle. You have to like move around until you find it. So we might not, we might have to move around a good bit before, if there's anything to pick up. I don't know.
But what I'm seeing is space and the reflecting off the trees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Looks like it follows that opening.
It can't be any further than this, for sure.
No.
Yeah. You getting some?
I'm seeing down in here along where the creek's running. If you look down into where the creek is, past the trees, it's all what look like a subtle flash. Very subtle. John, they're not like a flashlight. They're really, really subtle.
I mean, once you see them, you'll know.
You'll know.
You'll know 'em.
And I just saw it look like an arc or something move up this way, down along the ravine. You gotta kind of look down in there.
Sometimes you'll catch them first, like in your peripheral, and then
I was just going to ask that if they were more peripheral.
you'll be able to catch them in your peripheral, and then you can
right.
focus on them once you catch them like that way.
It's almost, I know it sounds goofy, but it's almost like sunlight glinting off water, but it's not.
To me, they look like LED. They look like white LED lights to me, like just dull, not like super bright, not like a headlamp. You said you have a laser.
Yeah. It's a flashlight. I'll have to put the LED down inside, and then once you hit it, then it's a laser on the inside.
I mean, could you point it at something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Almost like a firefly, but very, 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 very subtle. It's too early for fireflies yet, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, we're getting close, though, actually, aren't we?
I think so.
Yeah. Usually,
Sorry.
a week or two into June.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Say early June, mid-June.
So that's my guess.
I just mean there's different angles of the leaves and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah,
We might just be able to,
Agreed.
because there's even when we're standing in the, there's just certain areas you can't see it.
Definitely tell why February is the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So many layers.
Okay. Maybe. Look down in there where it gets real dark and tell me.
I swear I was seeing it in there.
Move around. Come on, lights. Show yourself.
If I keep getting stuff in the peripheral, it's like a hint of something, and I look and it's gone.
I think that's the way you pick them up at first. This is a weird time of night too, because like light-colored leaves look really bright.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to tell what's your eyes just adjusting.
Mm-hmm. There's something like very bright down in there that's naturally occurring, or garbage or something. But
Yep. I see that too.
yeah, it keeps catching my eye. Over here. Over here. Look up in there.
Oh, I see it. It's a red.
There's more than one. They're up on the hill, Chad.
They're down in the ravine too.
They're going on and off.
So,
Yeah, there's some backlight coming through too, but
as I was looking down in the ravine, it looks like a shimmer, almost like you're underwater, and I saw one of the white lights flash. What color are you seeing?
I saw a red one.
Red's usually not good.
I think I just saw a white one.
yeah, I've been seeing white. But it's hard because there's backlight too. They're definitely down in.
They're low to the ground.
They will light.
Yeah, so I just
And when we're all looking one way, I guarantee something's going on.
yeah, that's why I have to that's one down here. If you look down in there, it's as dark as it's dark.
Mm-hmm.
Let your eyes adjust. You see a shimmer, almost like a mottled light constantly moving in the ravine, almost like you're underwater. You know, like when they use lights to make like an underwater effect. That's what I was seeing. And into there, and I see I just saw one over there again. So to that side, you'd see a white flash, and then after you look for a while. But the longer you look through the trees down in, you'll see the shimmer. John saw it too. But he didn't know it was his eyes adjusting to the dark, the contrast. But I'm looking in the darkest spot, towards where the water's flowing. And it's almost like a wake of light, like this, shimmering around.
Will they stay on now? See.
Oh, I see them. Alright, remember when we were here and we were seeing all the lights, like areas lighting up? That's what I'm seeing right now. Now, are you seeing that? Or am I the only one seeing this? It's real subtle. Are you seeing it?
I'm not enough where I'm
Convinced that it's there. It's very, very gradual. Very, very gentle.
I feel like I'm seeing those pinpoint lights though.
Yeah, I'm seeing them too. You smell them?
I don't know. Can't place it. Could just be rotten wood. It won't be a thing that you have to question.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Is I'm waiting for that sort of aha moment where I'm like, whoa.
There will be. It won't be a thing where you're like, oh, I wonder, is that what he's talking about? It'll be suddenly, you'll be like, oh, okay.
I've seen a lot of inconclusive.
Yeah.
Maybes.
Yeah, exactly.
As it gets darker, you'll start seeing it better.
Yeah, I'm thinking right now it's just too hard to
distinguish.
That's a dog.
Yeah.
It sounds like a dog.
Seen it?
No.
Mostly in this area here. Start to see it off to your periphery vision, and then it'll start. And then the more you look, the more you'll start to see it. It's very big. And there, I just saw a pinpoint. Unless I'm crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about. That's why I like it in February, because you don't even have to question it.
Oh no.
It's just there.
Were you guys seeing the ones up in the hill?
I'm fairly convinced, but it's so backlit that maybe not. I don't know. So as to further mess us up, there are glowworms right there. I can see one.
Oh yeah.
Glowworm right there. Glowworm right there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yep. But what I'm seeing is more of like a pinpoint.
No, like I said, you'll know the difference. But there are glowworms.
Glowworms are pretty amazing.
Yeah. And we're obviously not seeing them in February.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what? That's one.
Like, really close. Like, real close.
That's what they do. You see them in your periphery.
Alright, lights, come on. I'm summoning the lights by my lizard lead.
And I've been trying to just hold like this really open intention. I'm ready to see them.
So two close together.
And it looks like we got some mist or something coming up.
Yeah, of course.
Which is catching ambient light.
Here, I just saw one. Straight ahead. Moving down. It wasn't mist. It was brighter than that. Down in the ravine.
So one.
Where
It
at?
was like, right, it's kind of like in the middle of the trees right over there.
Yep.
It was in the corner.
I got a red one really close.
Ugh.
Right in here.
Just
Oh,
now.
I just saw another one. Like almost the same spot.
Looked like a red LED. I was thought I held my thing out.
Maybe another house.
Now if you're looking up that way,
Yeah.
there's a house up there.
Okay, then that's what I see.
Yeah.
Where'd you see the LED at?
Right close. It looked like it was right in here, honestly.
Where did the one guy see the LED when he said it?
Through binoculars.
Oh, okay. Where were they located at?
Same place we were looking at the other ones. When you do look through binoculars, they do look like two. It's bizarre. It's weird.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
They look like what?
They look like two. They look like...
Oh, interesting.
When you look at them through binoculars. Not 100% of the time, but often enough where, like, I thought, oh, he's got a point that they're, at least that they're two. I'm not ready to say they're...
Eyeballs.
Yeah, I'm not ready to say that.
What's that? Do you keep records of like specific dates that you were out here and saw? Quite a bit.
No, I should.
Interesting to come back.
Whoa! There.
I saw that.
Yeah, did you see it?
No, I missed it.
Flashed on and off.
I totally saw that.
Yeah.
There's another one right up here.
Oh, I saw that.
Did you see that one too?
Yeah. I had my head turned though, so I didn't see this one.
That's them.
Oh, and I just saw a red.
Ugh.
There's no doubt when you see them. There's no doubt.
Yeah, I saw a white flash.
It's not a maybe.
Yeah, that flash was not a maybe.
Yeah.
Did you see it high or low?
It was high.
Pretty high.
Yeah.
That's where I saw mine. That was a white flash.
It was like flicker, 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 off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, see where this tree comes off that V there? Look in between there. Below, you can see the light coming from behind the tree in the sky.
Gotcha.
Below that, look in there, because I thought I saw something.
That's where I saw the flash.
Yeah. There it goes.
I just saw something.
The fact that we saw that one is a good indication that we might see it again.
I just see one down in there.
Lower?
Yeah. And I'm starting to see him up on the hill here. There's the moving lights. See him?
No.
There goes the owl again.
Up on the hill. Down to where the road is. You'll see the moving.
So that's the area. I guess we're just looking at it at a different angle than we are from up there. The thing about all this stuff, I was talking about this, Laura, is as freaked out as I've ever been, it's never touched me. It's never laid a hand on me, well, other than grabbing my pack at Harry Springs. But that's the only time I can ever think it ever touched me. Even the raccoon didn't touch me.
I saw a red one down in there. So John, what do you think you saw?
He saw the flash that I saw.
I definitely saw that.
It was like a flicker, like flicker, flicker, flicker off.
And then shortly after that, I saw pretty distinct red glow, but it wasn't as like a bright light.
No.
It almost looked like it was something that was behind some leaves or something. Like there's something in the way of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that flash on and off wasn't.
Yeah, like I said,
No question about that.
yeah. When you see him, you're not going to question it. It's not going to be like, is that maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, no, that was a definite.
Yeah. They will flicker sometimes, and then sometimes they'll just stay on. And that's amazing. You can just sit there and stare at them for, 20 seconds, 10 seconds.
What's the most you've seen at one time?
Oh man, that time we were up here shooting it with the laser, there were 6 or 8 of them at any one time, just all throughout the woods.
And they were different colors though, weren't they?
They would turn colors. So
yeah, right.
you could stare at them, and they would seem like they would turn from like white to yellow to blue to green. Well, because the brightest one would start low, and it would just go up, 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 just almost in a straight line.
Whoa.
What'd you see, John?
I was like right here, like 6 feet.
I saw that one.
They get close.
Wow. That gave me goosebumps. That's awesome.
Yeah, I saw that one.
I just thought I saw a really small blue thing. Really small
They've been blue. They've been blue. They've been red. They've been yellow, white. Mostly they're that kind of white. Almost looks like an LED light.
Bluish white.
Yeah.
Again, right there. Did you guys see that?
I didn't see it that time. Now was it close again?
It's right here.
But it's not in the litter, right?
No, I mean, it wasn't. It was not one of this glowworms.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Like,
Yeah,
it's,
it was not a glowworm.
yeah. They've never. I'm like that's closer than they come when we're in for sure.
It's like I caught it in my peripheral, and then I looked at it expecting it to be gone, like other things.
Mm-hmm.
Like I looked at it and it was still there. And
See,
then
I've seen.
blinked- and then it
I
blinked
saw a
out.
red one earlier, just like that. It was like red as could be, and it was like that close.
That was like it was like a hint of blue,
That's
like
yeah.
a bluish white
Yeah,
almost.
yeah, that's. That's one of the stories from that people would say they saw in. There was an abandoned house or something from that folklore thing yesterday. They would see blue lights in the house.
Huh. It's so crazy to see it that close.
Yeah, that's actually never happened.
It almost kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah.
So neat.
Well, I've never been in here at night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've never been here at night.
Mm-hmm.
I've been up there, but not right here.
Yeah.
So if they're that small, see, I was always under the impression that they were larger and further away.
Right.
But these seem small and close, right?
Mhm.
Like that's the impression you're getting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if I had to equate that to a size, there's again.
No.
I was gonna say if I had to equate it to a size, like smaller than a ping pong ball,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit.
If these little things that we're seeing are the same thing we were seeing, and I don't know that they are. I think it might be an expression of the same phenomenon, but not exactly the same thing. But if they are, then it's 100% not eye shine. You know what I mean?
Oh, there's no chance.
Yeah, it's just something, like I said, just a weird light. If that's the same thing that we're seeing further back in.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how I would describe what I would think these things are.
I just
Like 15 feet away.
I saw a red one right in there. Right.
So much light. Down
I caught a red one right out of my peripheral vision, right down in there. There we go. See where this tree is here?
Mm-hmm.
Look in that light area in there and tell me if you don't get Christmas lights.
Which side will be?
Right side.
Okay, I'm at a different angle than you. Down low.
I'm not getting them down here. But I'm trying to let...
into the red. It was there and then gone.
It was doing that thing, Chad, that we saw when it was like Christmas tree lights almost, like diddle 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 diddle, like that. Not quite as dramatic as that, but you know.
I just saw one go. A red one, just kind of. Was what you seen like this? But this is my hand go like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you were seeing?
No, I was seeing, the ones I was seeing were pretty stationary.
Okay, yeah, I just saw one go like that. Like it lit up.
I mean, the red ones.
This is really interesting because I don't know if it's the same 2 times in a row. Like I don't.
You mean the way the lights look?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I just saw your little Christmas light show.
Right up in here.
Yeah, I've been seeing them on the hills.
Yeah.
I've been watching them on the hill
Lower
the whole
than
time.
lower than the light shining through the down here.
Yeah,
where
they're
it's
on the
dark.
hillside. Yeah. And I was looking back the road, and if you look way back the road, I was seeing them down in on the hillside.
Yeah, and I thought the road looked like
Was lighting up? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
like that. Almost like headlights were coming up the mountain.
Yeah.
There's more.
I'm glad you've seen them.
I know. Yeah. That was a little bit of a mental game changer.
Allison's been determined to debunk this. She's like, take me out there. I'm going to tell you what the...
I came with an intention to be open to it, but
Mhm.
to also not allow sort of the hype and the excitement of being here to
Right.
kind of influence my senses.
Right.
And so unless I felt like a solid 10, that's it. I was not prepared to tell myself I've seen that.
Yeah, well, that's what I wanted to, like... When I say, like, you'll know it, like, there's definitely... Like, once you see it, then you start going, okay, maybe I am seeing more in my peripheral. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I didn't want that. I want you to see, like, and that's what I meant. Like, when you'll know it. Like, you'll know it when you see it.
What I saw, there was no question.
Yeah. So I guess to try to explain where we are without giving it away, and I'm gonna have to edit out a lot of stuff that gave it away, exactly where we were, but we're kind of on the side of where we saw the lights before. And there's an old closed road, and we're actually on that road kind of to the side of where we saw the lights. And here comes the rain. But we're moving, I guess, behind the lights. I guess. I mean, it's hard to pinpoint. We're moving down the road east and down the mountain, basically, which will put us, I think, behind where we see the lights. I think. And I guess the question is, are the lights all through these woods?
Yeah.
Or are they only in that one location? And they acted differently tonight than they have before. Again, is it because we're in a different position? I don't know. But that was certainly as closest as they ever seemed to come. Or I should say a lot closer than they ever seemed to come.
I'm kind of fascinated by the glowworms, and it almost seems like significant that these lights are here in the same habitat as these glowworms.
What's crazy is we see glowworms at Harry Springs too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which has white shingles on it too. You see them in the night sun.
So the ground glowworms are calling to the ethereal lights.
Yeah, I don't know. And it's a totally different kind of
It is. Yeah.
light. I mean, there's no mistaking one for the other.
I just want to take time to glance back a few times while we're... See if we get anything.
Oh, I'd definitely like to check this out in February, though.
Yeah. We'll have to come back.
Up in the tree. Right here.
I see.
Right there.
Where?
Right here.
Yeah, it's
See this bend?
Uh-huh.
It was
It's
bright.
still
I see it.
flashing.
I saw
You
it.
see
Yeah,
it?
I saw it. On and then off.
yeah.
It changed color. It was blue.
There it goes.
There it moved again.
On.
Oh,
Wow.
there was a flash. That was moving.
See, I missed that one.
There's an orange. There's another one.
You guys want to come over here and see the letter?
Oh, there it goes. Yeah, it's just so hard to keep in.
Oh, it just like went to the right a little bit. Is there more than one?
All right, Tim. This is the bend where it comes up.
Yeah. Bam. There it is again.
I just think we found the source.
There it is again. God.
Oh, so cool.
What is over there? There it goes again.
That was white.
Yeah.
And that just like moved through the trees
Yeah.
almost.
Alright. No, it looks so close. Is it moving?
Yeah, I think
I see it move.
Yeah, it's kind of... Unless it's more than one and they're just booping off and the other one's booping on. That's a technical term, booping?
Sure.
Yeah.
Agree?
I agree.
Wow.
It is moving too, a little bit.
Is there anything over there that would come through the trees?
Yeah.
Or?
There's nothing over there.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, it just looked more like blue-ish.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's freaky.
You saw it move just now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like...
It looked like it almost just turned red. Oh, wow.
On. Wow.
I found it. Wow.
Oh my
Wow.
God. That's...
Question, Chad.
Yeah.
When you turned the random knot on, did it put the thing over in that direction?
Oh, it's like blue.
Did it put the point over there?
It put a void over in that direction, yeah. I mean, this is what I said where I felt like this was the opening. This is where it was.
There's no set pattern to it.
No. Now, I'm wondering if there's something over there. I mean, okay, now I'm going to be devil's advocate. Is there something over there that we're seeing flashing off and on?
Well, that's what I'm saying, but it's
moving.
There's no set pattern to the flash.
No.
I can imagine what...
And you can see it like zig to the side.
I've seen orange, I've seen blue,
That was like
Reddish.
green.
red, green.
You ever try to take like video of it?
Yeah, so I
We-
failed.
Yeah, we've tried taking pictures of it, and it's
It would be
horribly unimpressive when you look
Yeah.
at the photos.
Yeah.
Well, the photos from that I took of the
There's another one.
I saw something that was red.
There's no way those are fireflies.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
They're not.
There's another one.
Yeah.
They're in a different place.
Oh, I just saw
See
like
it?
a blue one right next to the other one.
So how far away are they?
God.
They're on the other side of the ravine, I think.
That's what it seems
Yeah.
like. That's what it seems like, but my question is...
I think they're closer because I asked John if there was anything there, and he agreed there wasn't. Because I was staring at this area that, as it was getting dark, remember? And I was standing here taking recording. And this is where the owl was too. And I heard noises.
Now, it's not... I don't see it now.
I don't see it either.
And it's gone.
Yeah. Which means if it was like a light on a pole or something...
It'd still be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
That was the most intense ones I've seen.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
I said, Tim, I think this is what you're seeing from.
It could be. I mean, that's especially the brightest one.
Can you see it? Like, that seems awfully far, though, to be able to see that.
Well,
like, I'm not trying to doubt you or anything, but you know what I mean?
I mean, we're talking February, though, when there's no leaves on the trees.
Yeah, true.
So the fact that we're seeing it now with leaves on the trees means it's closer.
That's what I'm thinking.
It's
Is it-
it's in that opening.
This is as close as we've ever been to it, I'm guessing.
Wow.
Remember I told you there was an opening there where the
Yeah.
trees had fallen away? It's almost like a clearing. That's where it is.
And now it's just... No, you're not seeing it now, anybody, right?
No, it's dead.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, that was...
That's pretty amazing.
It's right near the point where the three hills come together. Yeah, if that was a pole, it'd still be going off.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and the pattern would be a normal pattern.
And I've seen three or four different colors.
And I think it moved. I'm pretty sure
Oh, it was moving.
Unless there's
Yeah,
more
I
than
think
one,
it
and they were
moved.
blink. You know, one was gone and the other
And
was
there's
gone.
no wind.
No. Oh wow.
That's crazy.
All right.
So are you with me that this spot in this area is where they originate?
I guess.
I mean,
it seems that way.
I mean, there were some up there that were close to John and you up there too.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's new. That's different.
Yeah.
That's like never happened before where it's where they were like that close.
When I was over there, it was like 10 feet away.
Yeah.
I saw like a bright white one. It was super quick.
I think they follow the ravine. They follow the creek.
Wow. This is so damn interesting to me, again, because of the change of angle, you know?
Yeah.
So we did this hike into Site 7.
I know, I'm jealous I didn't get to go.
When you're with John,
Mm-hmm.
the woods are your snacks.
Did he find the Skittles tree?
He's finding stuff, every 10, 20 yards. Like, you can eat this, and this is good for fever and so forth. It's kind of amazing, actually.
It's all that knowledge that we all should know, but none of us know.
Well, John's a great teacher. So it's really cool that John has this wild food knowledge. But we don't all have it. You can get wild foods like that from wildfoods.co. Wild Foods is a food company that puts quality, sustainability, and health first in all of their products. They have anything from coffee to fish oil, and every single product is painstakingly sourced from small farms around the globe. They take their mission seriously to fix the broken food system, and Wild Foods believe food is medicine. So I've been taking the Wild 8 Mushroom Complex. Wild Foods has other supplements and other food products. No matter what you get from them, you can feel good about it because they're sustainably sourced, great quality ingredients. So with our partnership with Wild Foods, we've gotten our listeners a code for 12% off their order. You can head over to wildfoods.co. Remember, that's wildfoods.co. It's not .com. Enter the code STRANGE for 12% off your order. And we'd like to thank Wild Foods for sponsoring Strange Familiars. One thing I noticed, and I think I say this when we get there, well, Chad mentions we saw lights that one time just as it was getting dark, and we did. And I said, yeah, we might see them, but usually around 10 o'clock is when they really start coming out. And I have to say, as I'm editing it, I was kind of, checking basically what time it was versus when we got there and so forth. And it was right about 10 o'clock that they really started to pop up and get more intense. So while we did see some hints of stuff before then, it seems like that's the magic time. We got back to the cars at after midnight, right?
Yeah, around that time.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that puts the most intense light experience right around probably 9:30, 10 o'clock there. At least the start of it.
Yeah, in fact, I could probably even check the timestamp because I texted my wife as we were getting ready to hike out, just still hiking out. And the hike back took a lot longer than I expected. I was kind of surprised at what time it was when we finally got back to the cars.
It did take a little longer considering that was downhill. That was down the mountain. But I'm chalking that up to us all being tired and, the fun stuff was behind us as far as seeing the lights and so forth.
Yeah, and it was dark, so we were hiking in the dark.
True. Yeah, it's a little bit slower as we pick our way along.
Yeah.
All right. So, honestly, I thought we probably weren't going to see any lights just because it seems like whenever I've brought people up there that's not been February, it's been not so impressive if we saw any lights at all. I think when I took Joshua up there, we didn't see any at all. When I took Sarai up there, a couple little flashes, but nothing like what we saw. So I was kind of prepared to have some disappointed onlookers.
So when, just to remind me and other people, when did you take Josh and Soraya there? What time of year and what month was it?
Soraya came, I think, in March. He was trying to get here in February, and I don't think he did. So I think he came in March. And then Joshua came in April. Sarai came back down again when he was here.
Okay. Because I was wondering if, like, the reason they didn't see as many. Now, March, that might be different. But April would have been maybe from the location we were looking at them at before. If it was the same place that when I was there first, they might have had a hard time seeing them because of the leaves. But March, I don't think that would have been an issue as much.
Right, but I mean, I don't know if this plays into it, but Sarai had a camera the whole time. He was determined to photograph it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Looking back at that, you know, this phenomenon, I mean, any phenomenon just doesn't seem to like cameras.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a long exposure camera. He was, you know, he got some great pictures of the woods and stuff, you know, that looked like daylight because he had such a long exposure, but nothing was showing up. All right. So the thing that's interesting to me is I know John and I were seeing, you know, some of the same lights. And before we get into that, let me address this with everyone. We talk about glowworms. We saw the first, I think we saw like literally like the first firefly of the year as we were leaving come up out of the grass.
Yeah, I think for sure.
Yep.
I want to assure the listeners, in everyone's opinion and outright knowledge, the lights we're talking about are not glowworms or fireflies.
No.
Yeah,
Definitely
yeah,
not.
absolutely not. I mean, the color and the intensity, there's no way.
Yeah. So I just want to get that out of the way first.
Yeah, like a totally stark difference. Like the one thing that you were saying, Tim, while we were there is that I kept feeling like I was seeing things peripherally, but I was like, you know, I feel like that's just my eyes adjusting to the lights or I'm picking up the glowworms. And you said something like, if you're having doubts at all, you're not seeing it.
Yeah.
Because when you see it, there will be no question. And
Yes.
that was definitely the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to, because I feel like some of the crazier ones are more subtle in a way. Like the ones, you can hear me on there talking about Christmas lights, and you can hear Chad talking about shimmering lights, and they're a lot more subtle. And if that's all that happened, I wouldn't expect anyone to walk out of there a believer. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because they're so much more subtle, I think, and less there in a way. It's hard to explain. But the ones that are there, you know, the ones that leave no question, I think sort of support the existence of the ones that you see more peripherally, or you wonder, like, did I see something? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree with that. Sorry, John.
Yeah, I agree also.
So here's the interesting thing. Every time I've been there that I've seen them, they've been different. Every single time. They've behaved differently. They've looked differently to a certain extent. Mostly they've behaved differently. And they've seen different sizes and so forth. And this was no exception. It was different yet again this time. So I wish there was a way we could put on ear muffs or something and not hear what each other says, because I really don't want anybody's description to influence anybody else's. But starting with John, describe what you saw, because I don't know if we were seeing the same things.
Well, yeah. So I feel like I saw 3 different distinct types of lights. So the first one I saw was, and I think I was kind of looking over your shoulder, Tim, when you know, we're all standing there looking into the woods, and I think you said, "Oh, there." And so I look over your shoulder, and what I saw was a very simple, like, white light, like, and I was describing it to folks here when I was telling them about it as it was kind of blinked on. It was like blink and then blink, blink. So it was a kind of like a delayed flash on a tiny light in the distance. And that was when I know that you and I were both looking at together. Again, like you're saying, I don't know what you saw, but that's what I saw with that.
Yeah.
The second thing I saw was what I've been sort of describing as like a blue orb. It was a very light colored blue, almost like a baby blue. And this was where we were standing right on the edge of the sort of the wooded area there. And it was probably like 10 feet to my right, 4 feet forward. So like at an angle, I caught it out of my eye. And it startled me because it was like that moment where you're like, wow, I'm actually seeing this. And it was like this blue orb, maybe the size of a ping pong ball, just glowing in place there, and then went out. And then shortly after that, I saw the same thing like 2 feet in front of me on the but lower. And so I kind of even like dropped to my knees when it happened and tried to like reach out for it because it seemed so close. And then that blinked out. But they both held for, it wasn't like a flash on and off. It was kind of there for maybe a couple seconds, stable, and then blinked out.
Yeah. Now, were these stationary or moving?
Stationary.
Okay.
John, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, for sure.
When you said that they came on and they went off, was it like they were on like somebody flipped the light switch, or did they gradually come on and gradually go off, like ebbing, like a dimmer, more like a dimmer switch?
It was way more like a dimmer. They kind of slowly appeared, and then when they went out, it was like they slowly kind of went out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it was not a quick blink on and off. Although unlike the first one that I saw in the distance, that white blink light, that was like blinking on and off pretty fast.
Okay.
So I had the blinky white one. I had the 2 baby blue dimming orbs, for lack of a better term, and then the display at the end we saw with what we were calling the Christmas lights. I could.
Oh yeah, that was. Yeah.
Yeah, do you want me to describe what I saw there? Or
I'm thinking we're all going to agree on that one because we were all watching that together. But we'll come back to the last light. Let's come back to the last one because that one we caught as we were leaving.
Sounds good.
All right, Laura, what did you see? You describe what you saw.
I think the first one I saw was something red, but it was like really faint, and it was probably like a good 10-15 minutes, and I didn't know if I was actually seeing what I thought I was seeing. And then I'd see it out of the corner of my eye, and then eventually we started actually seeing them, and then you knew for sure that you were seeing them.
Right.
But at one point, I think the first one that I saw that was super bright was only like maybe 20 feet away from me, and I caught it out of the side of my eye. And that really freaked me out because it was so close. And it was just like this white light that just went on, maybe size of a ping pong ball, and then went off super quick.
And did you see, we all saw more than that. I mean, you can hear us commenting throughout. I think even in, the short week or so since we saw them, I think we've forgotten how many we actually saw. Because when you listen to the audio, you'll see us go, oh, wait, there's another one. Oh, wait, that one was red.
Yeah.
But I'm more interested in the sort of size and shape, especially of the close ones. Did you get any impression of the size and shape, Laura?
I'm going to have to go with ping pong ball size, like you guys were saying. Some of them seem smaller to me, like little faint LED lights.
Mm-hmm.
Like I saw some red, some blue, and then I think the first white one I saw was that bigger one and brighter one that was like 20 feet away from me. And then after that, we started seeing them in the woods more.
Right. All right, Chad. You'd been there before, so you kind of knew what to look for.
Yeah.
Were you seeing the ones that were closer to us? Because you were really kind of focused on like down in the ravine kind of for a while.
Yeah, I was actually trying to see more what was down in the ravine, especially in that area where the owl was, because I had heard something moving around down in there. Now, could that have been an animal? I don't know, but I heard some movement down in there, and I also was hearing some calls, but the way sound travels in there, you can't really trust the sound too much unless you know for sure it's close to you, if that makes any sense.
It does, yeah, because I've said it several times. Traffic sounds like it's right next to you. The train from across the river sounds like it's 10 feet away sometimes.
Especially in the area where we were at, because we were in the middle of it all, so there we had sound coming from multiple sources.
Yeah, it seems to funnel sound up. I think I say this on the recording, but in case it wasn't clear, we were kind of so we were in the middle of what I would call Site 7 here, and we normally look at this from the west side looking east. So we were kind of southeast looking northwest. Is that about right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a completely different vantage point. I didn't know if we were going to see anything at all. I'd never been there at night where we were. I'd been there during the day. I've hiked through there during the day looking for anything that would give off a light. I mean, I walked through those woods looking for anything, trying to think like what could do that. But, I'd never been there at night and didn't know what we were going to find. And in fact, I don't think this made it in the recording. I was telling you guys about a friend of mine who had seen weird lights similar in Maryland. And he told me that they had actually placed a person out where they were seeing the light with a radio. I think he said on a 4-wheeler. They were seeing him in a field and radioed the guy that, hey, the lights are right next to you, and he couldn't see them. He was out there right where they were and couldn't even see them. And I kind of thought, well, maybe that's going to happen to us. Maybe if you're out there with them, we're not going to see them. But they absolutely came closer to us than they've ever come before. Shockingly close. Shockingly close.
It was definitely shocking.
I did not think they would come that close. I don't know if I think they've been coming closer than I realized before, but it's just so hard to tell. It's really hard to tell with, distance and it being night and so forth. But anyway, Chad, the lights describe the lights you saw.
All right. So sorry, I didn't mean to get off topic with the noise, but anyways, so what I saw at first, and this was like as it's getting closer to the magic hour, I was seeing down in the ravine. I think I even had said to John, you'll probably hear me on the recording, I'm like, John, do you see the shimmer? And to me, that's almost like down in the ravine, down further in, away from us. It's almost like I describe it as if you ever seen like when you go to like a dance or something like that, and they use lights to simulate being under the water, like as if the light is, or you're looking at a light coming up through the water, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
As that kind of like distant shimmering effect to it. I think did you see that too, John? Do you remember?
Yeah, I definitely saw some hints of that.
Yeah, and it's, to me, that's always like because I've seen that something like that the first time I was there, but this time it was a little more, I could see it a lot better, and it was more of a bluish, almost like very subtle shimmer was the first thing I saw. And then I started seeing the white lights. So the first one I saw, as far as the white lights, was definitely like the slow dimming light, like it would come on and it would maybe hold, or it would kind of move a little bit and then dim back out. Is what I would see. I saw that. On the other side of the ravine, on the hillside, which I was looking further over, I was actually seeing a yellow light, and that would come on. It would move, almost like best way to describe it is if somebody was carrying a lantern, if that makes any sense. And I saw one of those, and I saw two of those, and that was similar to what we saw at White Rocks, Tim, if you remember.
Yeah.
So it was like two of them moving in sequence, as if there was a person, two people walking together, and then that would do the same. That would dim on and dim off. It would dim on, it would move a little bit, and dim off. Any of the red lights I saw maybe one or two pinpoint red lights that looked like the LED, and they were moving. I don't want to say in any particular pattern, because I'd see one move up, move down, and they would pop on, move, pop off. And they weren't ebbing like the white lights. They were more like as if you hit a switch, they come on and go off, and they were probably about the size of a ping pong. As I was looking back, because I was looking also down where the trail that we had come in on, because I was also concerned about what was behind us, because it's just the nature of me. So I was just checking things out, making sure everything was okay. I was seeing like sections of the woods light up with like a Remember how, Tim, we saw those lights that were like beams that were moving? And we saw like it would look like sections of the woods lighting up when we were there the first time, almost like a light show.
Yeah.
That's what I was seeing behind us. I'd see sections of the woods light up. Just
we both mentioned at some point it looked like somebody was driving up the road. Yeah, I mean nobody's driving up that road. It's an old closed road.
no,
You know what I mean?
yeah, right,
We both mentioned like, boy, it almost looked like somebody's driving up there.
right. So what I was seeing was like a section of the woods light up with like a whitish bluish light, and then it would ebb off. It'd go up, or it'd come on, be there for a few seconds, and come off. So across the ravine, I was also seeing the white lights, also over there. Down in the ravine, amongst the ebbing, or the shimmer, as I called it. So it's just the best way to describe it. I was definitely seeing the white lights more so down there. The red lights to me were mostly on the hillsides, because I saw some of the red on the other side of us too.
Now, like I said, you seem like really focused out in the woods. Did you see any of the ones that were coming up on the bank close to us that John and I, and I guess Laura saw one too, but the one I know John and I were seeing?
I did not, because I was looking in a different section of the woods than you guys were.
Okay.
I remember John saying, "Oh my, it's right there," and I looked over, but I think it was gone by the time he was over, because I was further back and was looking down into that one section where I had heard the owl hoot and stuff. I don't know, for some reason I was more focused on that. Colors, like I said, the white lights I saw, they could be like a blue white or a bluish. They would change. It would go. Some of them would be like, they would start out like a bluish and then get bright and then dim out. Like their brightness would change in intensity. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And go ahead.
None of these seem to like come on and stay on. You know what I mean? Like
no.
Like a normal light. They'll either fade out or they'll move, or it's not like a light bulb.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And then as we were walking out, we had what you called the Christmas lights, that crazy light show we saw.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
And that's actually not what on the tape, you'll hear me say, look down there for the Christmas lights. It's not even like the same one I'm talking about. The last light was something else. I had actually seen like that sparkly kind of Christmas light, like we saw the last time we were there, Chad, in that one area. It's just where it's just like a bunch of little lights, like a ball of Christmas lights or something,
Right. Now, see, I never saw anything like that. The only thing I got to multiple lights were the orange lights, the two orange lights I saw on the other side of the ravine.
Here's the thing, John. We were seeing lights at the same time, but I don't know if we were seeing the same thing.
Yeah, I want to hear what you were saying, man.
So when you say ping pong balls, you mean size and shape, yes?
Correct. They were definitely, I mean, on one hand, it was sort of hard to gauge distance.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what I was seeing felt like it was, like when I say it was about 10 feet away, that was definitely the impression I got. But I have no way of like really quantifying that,
Yeah, and I had a similar impression. It seemed like, we were on that road and they were like right at the tree line, just lighting up right there.
Yeah. Well, and the one that I said was like 2 feet in front of me, like that, like I literally reached down and tried to grab it. I don't even know why I would do that, but it was like so shocking to see it. I automatically just dropped down and tried to grab it. But definitely ping pong ball size and very spherical, like round.
Interesting. So I saw one that looked like that. And I forget if it was the first one we saw or the third one we saw. I forget. I would say pong ball is accurate. But the others and the ones that I think, at least the one that was closest, looked like pin lights to me.
What do you mean by pin? What do you mean by pin light?
Like a little pen light, like just a single
pen light.
Like a little single like LED. That's all they looked like to me. They were definitely there. They were 100% there. But that's all I saw.
You're saying more of a point of light versus a ball of light.
Yeah.
Okay. Like let me see if I can quantify this correctly. Like a mini, like on the Christmas lights, the little mini Christmas lights that make that just that small point. Is that?
Yeah, anything like a pen light or something. Just like a single LED or something, if you can imagine. Okay. I want to say if there were 3 of them, 2 out of the 3, that's all I saw. One of them, I definitely saw the ping pong ball.
What color were they looking like to you?
Now, I had seen a red one, but I don't think you guys saw that. I think I saw that one and went, oh, there was a red one. And that was just like, deep red, like red. But the other ones look mostly like that bluish white.
Okay. So at some point I didn't see a red light like that, but I saw what looked almost like a red shimmer, as if there was a red light in the distance, but it was obscured by leaves I couldn't see. So it looked like I was getting the glow of red that was behind something else.
Oh, yeah, you did mention that.
At some point.
Yeah, you did mention that. Yep. All right.
But because it seemed farther away, it seems less prominent than the little blue orbs I saw.
Yeah. So I'm wondering did I just not get a good look at them as you did? I swear, because we were picking them up at the same time, because we were right there.
Yeah.
And I know we were seeing the same thing, because you're like, oh, there's one. And, and I was looking at the same thing, I think. I mean, I guess there's no ways to say for sure. But This is really interesting because every time I've been there, they've been different looking to me. I'm now wondering if they're different to the observer.
I have a question, John. Remember when we were looking on the hillside and we both saw it was almost like the forest was like glowing and it was like fading in real slow, like real soft, and it would get brighter and then it'd go back down. Was that when you saw red, or was that white to you?
No, that was white to me.
Okay, because that was white for me also. I was just checking.
Yeah, that was on like the uphill side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when I was pointing down the trail, I think I had mentioned to you, Laura, did you see that too? That kind of white, like I was describing, like part of the woods would go on, like light up with white light and then go out. Did you see that too? Because I remember you, because I was looking down there and you're like, oh, do you see something down there? And I had pointed it. Did you see that too?
No, I couldn't see that because I remember I was trying to look around to see what you were seeing and I couldn't find it.
Okay. I couldn't remember if you did or not.
On the way out, was that Laura who caught the last big light we saw?
No, that was Chad.
Was it?
I think so. Wasn't it?
Might have been.
I'll take credit if you want to give me credit.
Oh, of course you will.
I thought Laura saw it. I thought she was the first one who saw it.
God, I can't even remember.
It was one of us too.
Because I think John and I were walking behind you, and you had already stopped and were looking at it by the time we walked up.
Yeah.
Let's just say it's both of us. There you go.
Okay, so you saw it simultaneously at the exact same time.
That's
amazing.
That's a win.
So this light, I believe it's the first one I ever saw. I believe it's the most consistent one. I believe it's the biggest and the brightest one. Or maybe it's more than one. I don't know. But it's in this area. Whatever light is in this area or lights. I believe it's the one, Chad, when we're looking from the other area, I believe it's the one that appears in the trees.
And I think you're right, because as high as this one was, you would be able to see it from the other area, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I agree with you on that.
Okay, whitish, are we going to say on this one?
I saw multiple colors, but I saw multiple lights also.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, it started out white.
Okay, so it starts higher, and then it seemed like it would blink off, and then, at least to my impression was that then other lights would come on, like to the sides and lower.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And those were different colors.
Yes.
Yeah, and they kind of looks like they kind of like faded a little bit, but would like zoom to the side kind of. I don't really know how else to explain it other than that.
Yeah, I was describing it that same way, that it was sort of like almost like strobe off to the right as it went out.
Mm-hmm. Now let me ask you this, John. Did it always strobe off to the same direction? Or would it move left or right?
Well, so when it was, the initial light that was white, that to me looked like it was sort of moving in a diagonal, sort of back and forth a little bit slowly.
Okay,
like
every time?
Well, I feel like what I saw was the white light for a little bit, and then it changed to, then it was like down a little lower was like the red, and then the sort of the green that went sideways. And I feel like I only saw it that one time.
Okay.
So are you saying you thought it kind of went back through that cycle again, or?
No, I was
What did
just
you-
wondering, like when you said when it strobed off to the right, I was wondering if it did that consistently in the same place or if it was moving different. Now, were you referring to the white light, or were you referring to a different color when you said it
Well,
was
I
strobed
don't.
off to the right?
Again, I don't know what you guys saw, but I saw the white, and then I saw red, and then it dropped to green and strobed to the right as green and was gone. And then that was the
Okay.
last I saw.
Okay, so you saw something that you saw a white light, then it changed color.
Well,
Or-
I think
or-
like Tim just said, it dropped down. Well, like the white one went off, but then there was like a red one that came on
Okay.
a little
Okay.
bit lower.
Okay. I was just
Yeah,
trying to get it, picture it in my mind what you were seeing.
Now I have seen if that group of lights, if it's more than one, is the same thing that we're seeing from the other position, I have seen them all lit up together. Or
Okay.
I'll say maybe not all of them. I've seen multiples lit up together at the same time.
Okay.
I don't know. It's so hard to tell. Because when we were looking at it, part of me thought it could have been one light that turned off and turned back on lower and then moved. You know what I mean? Like, does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Mm-hmm.
Or it could have been multiple lights that just weren't lit up at the same time.
Right. So what I saw, what initially got my attention where I saw it, and I was like, hey guys, look at this, was I saw the white lights, but more intense. I mean, it was a bigger ball.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was definitely bigger, more intense. It was probably the brightest light. I saw that white flash. And not even flash is the best way to describe it. It dimmed on, dimmed off. Am I correct, Laura?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay, because that's what got my attention. Then I saw it when the white light went off again. I actually saw it move down and turn red. It never shut off. It went down and went red. Then it went off. Then I actually saw a blue light that would move off to the right and come on. Then I saw an orange light, which John didn't describe. So he was seeing something different. Am I correct, John? Did you ever see an orange one?
I didn't see an orange one. I saw red. Yeah, I definitely saw red, but I wouldn't say I saw like a true orange.
And I saw a red light come on. At one time, I seen the white light come on. Because I think me and her were watching it a little longer than you guys were. You know, we saw a little more of it. But I seen the white go on, also the white go on and go off, and then a red one come on and move. So I was actually seeing the lights move in different directions.
The lower ones, they were definitely moving if they weren't the same. If they weren't the same light. The upper one, I mean, that seemed like it was moving too, but within like a confined space.
Yeah.
Agreed. The colored lights seemed to have more movement to them, but there was no like cycle. I didn't see any pattern to it at all.
No, because I was actually counting like for a while because I was like, okay, is this on a pole or something blinking on and off?
Right, and that's why I was wondering if it was like a tower or something, but there's no way. That's what I was trying to get at. So, but
yeah, I don't know what that is. I really want to hike to that now.
Yeah.
Now, was it me or did that seem like it was on the other side, the other hillside?
Yeah, it did. It seemed like there was so there was the ravine or whatever, and then it was up on the other side. That seemed like that to me. Yeah.
Do you agree with that too, John?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I was just curious.
I know you said on a previous visit, on one of the previous episodes, talked getting a response from it. Like, I feel like I want to pull on spotlight and just light that thing up.
You're cutting out a little bit.
I feel like because I was saying that I would love to take like a full on spotlight and just light that thing up.
Oh. Well, like I said, we hit it. If that's the same one, We hit
Yeah.
we hit it with the laser and it would turn red. That was the first one I think we hit with the laser, if it's the
Wow.
same one. Again, from that other position. So,
But we were much closer to it than we were from that other position.
this previous time.
Yes.
Yeah,
I felt we were.
I think all around we were closer than we've ever
Oh,
been.
yeah.
And I believe they came closer to us. So, is everyone satisfied that they're weird lights? Can we say that much?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. I'm going to ask a question to everyone too, so I'm just curious. Did any of you feel like John and Tim, when the lights were coming closer to you guys, did you feel like you were being investigated? Did you feel like these things had they were just there, or did you feel they had something to them, if that makes any sense, if I'm phrasing the question correct?
No, that's interesting. Kind of, yes.
Yeah, I mean, this sounds kind of crazy, but I had this like almost like a weird feeling like almost like that they were sentient in a way. Like it didn't feel like this inanimate object, like there's a light here. It felt like there was more, it was more than that, you know?
Right. So Laura, what was your feeling when the lights coming towards you or were near you? Did you feel that way too? Or did you get any impression from, sentience or, what was your feeling?
I would agree with what John just said, definitely. And then I know this sounds weird, but when we were hiking out, leaving, and we saw that big light show, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, that was my next question, but go ahead.
Yeah,
you can go right to it.
I felt like sick to my stomach for a second. And I was like, I don't know if I was just like freaked out or what, but that was the only bad feeling, I guess you could say, the whole time I was there. I mean, I was definitely, on the lookout for things the whole time.
Did you other two guys, did you get a different feeling from that light show, the main light show versus the initial contact?
Like I was saying, like the little blue orbs when they were coming close, like that felt like something. And seeing the light display at the end, that to me felt a little more like mechanical, like we're seeing this thing, and maybe because there was more separation, but
okay, that
felt a little more disconnected and mechanical to me, for lack of a better term. Still like an astonishing thing to see. I have no idea what it was.
Yeah, right. I don't think anybody did.
Definitely. I definitely felt a difference between the two.
Okay. What about you, Tim?
So I would agree, and I hadn't thought about it too much till you said, but when they were coming close right up to the tree line, it felt in a way like being greeted or being inspected or something like that. Like it really felt like there was a kind of intelligence to it. Like
I agree.
Almost like, oh, you guys are in here now. Usually you're over there.
Right. I agree.
It's hard to register because I was so happy that you guys were seeing them by John and Laura, because like I said, I brought so many people there since the initial time seeing them, and the success. Well, not so many. I brought 4 people there since then. You guys are 2 of the 4, but the only person that was a really success with was Chad. Chad saw him, and he saw him dramatically. But, Josh didn't see him, Sarai didn't see him. And I was kind of I just had this overwhelming, not joy, but I was just so happy in a way, satisfied that other people got to see the lights. That it's just okay, I'm not crazy, and it's not, Tim and Chad going off having another weirdo adventure together,
Thanks. I took it as a compliment, actually. But
no, but I mean, I feel like it helps our other stories because we have a lot of wacky stuff happen when we're out.
I know.
And I feel like if it's every time we go out and it's just us, people believe us. But I think they're going to believe us more because of times like this when we can take other people and it's okay, there's 4 of us there, we all saw it.
Right,
yeah.
Right. And I'm totally with you on that one. Totally with you. Now, I'm going to compare this to my first initial experience, the first time I was there. Okay. So the first time I was there, I went in there. I didn't know what to expect. You know, I was just like, okay, let's see what happens. The first time I was there, now I'm going to refer to like when it was darker at 10 o'clock. Because at 6 o'clock, I was like, wow, and it was cool to see them. And then when me and you went back the first time at 10 o'clock, that's when things got a little more, woo. Intense, yeah. And I did not, the first time I was there, I literally got spooked.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I said, I'm out, because there was an intensity there, and almost, I don't want to say a malevolence, but like, after a while, at first it starts out playful, here we are, and, then they start getting faster. Like the last time I felt like they were getting like the lights were getting faster. We would get them ones that would start out and then come down the ravine towards us, and then, then flip out. And then it just got more intense, and then I had that moment where I heard that noise over my head, over my shoulder, and that's what freaked me out. And we were just hearing more and seeing more, not lights, but seeing things in the woods. So that I had, it was much more intense reaction the first time, and I felt like I wasn't welcome, if that made any sense. This time when we were there, when we were going in, and I didn't get a bad feeling from the woods this time. When the lights were going on, the first set where you guys were having the close encounters, I'm looking around. I didn't feel any of that. It was more like, I felt like there was an intelligence. I agree with you guys. But it was kind of more like what you said, Tim, like, oh, you're here. You're in amongst us.
Mm-hmm.
So I think because we were there amongst it, I felt more welcomed, if that made any sense.
No, I expected, honestly, I was a little like, man, I don't know what's going to go down here tonight, because...
Right, and that's why, like, at one time I was looking down behind us because, I was worried about, we got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And Laura had said to me, do you feel something? Or you look? And I'm like, no, I'm just looking down the woods just to make sure, what's ahead of us, so we can get out of here.
We, like I said, we James and I, when we were there, we got huffed at the one time. Just like pretty much, very similar to you. We've really like listened to things walk around us. Now, whether that was animals we didn't see or what, I mean, it sounded bipedal, but whatever.
Right.
I'm not going to have that argument. But the longer you sit in that other location, which would seem to be more protected than where we were, it seems like the more things get ominous in a way.
Right. And ominous was a better word. I didn't want to use malevolent. Ominous is a better word.
I fully expected that feeling from the start, considering where we were.
Yeah, and I was worried about that at first.
And it didn't happen. It was like calm. I mean, other than seeing the lights, it was like this very kind of calm. I mean, I was a little on edge just because I was expecting things to get weird, But thinking back on it, I was like, man, that was just like a really nice hike that we just got to see some weird lights.
Yeah. Having heard some of those stories in the past, I was like kind of looking forward to like this like creepy night in the woods. And it was like a totally delightful hike, and at no point in time did I feel sort of like something sketchy was going on around us or anything.
Right, and neither did I. And that's what I was trying to say is like the last time it was like ominous, it got real ominous. This time it wasn't that. Now, one thing I will say, Tim, and we made this observation as we were leaving, and you just kind of touched on it just a second ago. As we were seeing the lights this time, there was no noises. There was even a lack of, other than the outside noise coming in, there was no noise within the ravine. And there was also a lack of night insects.
Yeah, that was interesting.
As we were leaving, there were night insects.
There were, as we were coming down the mountain. Yeah.
Which was interesting, And when I saw the big light show as we were leaving, I almost felt it was like kind of like, okay, you guys were here. You guys were hanging with us. Here's this. It was almost like a gift, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and it seemed to end. Like you can definitely tell in the recording we're like, okay, you guys don't see it anymore, do you? And we're all like, nah, and then we
No.
leave. I
Yeah.
wonder
Yeah.
if we would have stayed after that if things would have gotten weird. I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't feel like it was a warning. It was just like kind of like, and I think I even had said at one time, I think that was the main area where the lights come from. But it felt like, it was like, okay, here's one last goodbye. You guys are leaving. Here you go. We're going to give you one last little show, kind of like the finale,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes any sense. But if we would have stayed, who knows? I mean,
Right.
but that was my impression of it, if that makes any sense.
No, it's an interesting evening. It's a great hike. I'm with John. It just ended up being this like really kind of nice night hike that I was kind of expecting more scariness, I suppose. And it's just it's just nice light. I mean, really, if that's all we get, that's kind of just a cool like experience to have these lights.
So now
Yeah.
I'm curious. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. I was just gonna say I was like so excited to go, but I was honestly nervous about it, having heard what happened there in the past, and then went, and I was like, oh, that wasn't so bad. That was pretty cool. It was nice.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
even
yeah.
removing the unknown, like I said, there's a pretty substantial coyote population. And
Yeah.
why I wasn't worried about them attacking us, but they can be scary because they'll come up close to you and they'll do that alarm because they have a normal path they take, and they do this alarm bark, which is just comes out of nowhere and just it's like whoa, just all of a sudden they're not right next to you, but they get pretty close. And like when Soraya and I were there, we were. They came right up that road and they got real close to us. They did that alarm bark, and I was just like, "What the heck?" Because they were just so close and it was so loud. And I was just, even expecting stuff like that, but it was quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah. The owl wasn't even making any noise. It was like the owl hooted for a while, and then they started.
The owl hooted, and then they started, and then we didn't hear the owl. I don't think too much during the first part. And I think I say, "There's that owl again." And then then we have the whole second, the bigger light thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was kind of a magical night.
It was pretty cool. Yeah. It was.
Yeah.
I'm just so happy multiple people got to see him. It's very, very satisfying. It's like, yeah, I'm not crazy.
Well, it was. I was afraid people were going to think I was crazy too. So you weren't the only one there. What I was going to say was like, I'm wondering if like different seasons in there have different. When you and James were huffed at, was that during the winter or was that this time?
Oh no,
Okay.
actually, that was that would have been probably early summer, I think.
Okay, so that like this time. So okay, so that kills that theory because I was wondering if different seasons have different personalities in there. If that makes sense.
No, I think, like I've said before, I think it's just capricious and it can turn on a dime, and you don't always know why.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just the combination of people. Maybe we just had the right combination of people for a positive experience,
Sounds good to me.
in that place.
Yeah.
I don't know. Know.
They're like, maybe they were like, there's four of them. They can gang up on us. We'll just, we better be nice this time. There's none of them they can fight back.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe because there's some girl energy there.
That's true too.
Yes, that's what it was.
I mean that in a positive way.
I think they were afraid of her.
All right. The last thing I want to touch on is, again, they're different every time I see them. They've been different every time I see them. Subtly different, sometimes extremely different. This time, the big last light we saw was similar to things I've seen before, but the other lights coming closer, I'd never seen that before. But, and I keep going back on this. I know I've said it before. And I think they're just weird lights. And then for a while, I thought they were eye glow. And then I went back to weird lights and back to eye glow after talking to Jeremy from Texas. And I'm going to say if what we saw is what we've been seeing the whole time, or what I've been seeing the whole time, what various people have been seeing the whole time, I think there's no possible way it could be eye glow. they're just some kind of weird light.
Yeah, I didn't get any kind of eye shine or eye glow feel from any of them.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
I'm going to go with you with what the consensus is, because there's no way it could be eye glow. I mean,
Yeah,
you
I
would
just-
see multiples more than once.
Yeah, and not what we saw. It's just, and especially with them coming close like that, that was just not. I don't know what it
Yeah.
was, but it wasn't eye glow for
If
sure.
there was eye glow, you would hear more noises with it.
One would hope.
You would think.
Yeah.
You would hope. Yeah, you would hope.
So,
Huh.
Chad and I have dug into the history of the place, and we have a bat scat theory that we're working on. I don't think we're ready to reveal it yet because we want to do a little more work on it. But it ties into history and who owned that property back in the 1800s and so forth. And we'll never be able to prove it as true, but it will make a nice little ghost story if we can pull it together the way I hope we can. I hope to have more on that coming up. And of course, we'll go back. I mean, it's just too interesting not to go back.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I definitely want to go back when there's no leaves on the trees.
Mm-hmm.
And, especially if there's a coating of snow, that would be kind of neat to see.
Yeah, well, the whole place should be much brighter, with snow on the ground.
Absolutely. And then also it would be more conducive to if there is any tracks
Right.
or anything like that.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
And I mean, hopefully that white deer stays in there that we talked about. That Rick Fisher took the photo of it. I'd love to see that, and that again, just another white thing in there.
yeah, I'm also interested in the structure I found down in there too.
Yeah.
That was built for something.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. When the leaves drop, I want to hike to that big light too. I got to figure out what's there.
Yeah, I'm so curious. I'm definitely in for that because, yeah, it's fascinating.
All right. Well, we'll go back. Maybe we'll go back before the summer's out, but we're definitely going back once the leaves drop because I
agreed.
Yeah, I want to see if it changes, and I want to get in there in that one section. I want like deep in there and see what that is. Again, I've been, I don't know if I've gotten that far on the trails because I've been on, like, I never crossed the creek that's down in there. So, right, I've been on the trails that lead down to the creek.
Right.
You crossed the creek, but you said it's just so brushy over there. Right, Chad?
Well, when I went down to the structure, I did cross the creek, and it looked like there had something or somebody, who knows what, was crossing over there regularly because there was a log that literally had been worn off. And then I think also before it got dark, I saw what looks like remains of another road on the other side.
Yeah, yeah.
So what I need to do is look at the maps and try and figure out if there's a way or maybe we can cross at that point and then work our way down the ravine or a little further because we have to go down to be where we were. We have to go further down on that side.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be another path over there. I'm almost sure because that was a secondary road. If you remember, that came up to what we were on.
Right. Yeah.
And I think if we get down there and get across, we should be able to find something over there.
Well, I definitely want to go, and maybe it's just the confidence of having a very positive experience there, but I feel way less trepidatious about being in there at night now.
Well, it helps having people with you too.
That's
I wouldn't want to go in there by myself. I admit that.
Certainly did help. Certainly did help. All right, guys, I want to thank you so much for doing the night hike with me and coming on to talk about it. So
Thank you, Tim.
Mm-hmm. Say
anytime, you know that, brother.
Oh, my pleasure.
Right on.
Yeah, thanks.
I want to mention again, 90 Days to the Perfect Puppy. If you have a puppy and you'd like to develop the perfect relationship between you and your puppy, 90 Days to the Perfect Puppy can help you With a relationship-based approach to training, they'll help you and your puppy become perfect for each other. 90 Days to the Perfect Puppy has online sources like video lessons, a secret Facebook group, and one-on-one options are also available with Tina and her staff. Go to sithappens.us and look for the 90 Days to the Perfect Puppy link. They'll help you understand how your dog thinks, which is not how you think.
I would hope not.
And they apply proactive training methods to help you and your puppy become perfect for each other. 90 Days to the Perfect Puppy. Again, that's sithappens.us. Look for the 90 Days to the Perfect Puppy link at the top of the page. So I will get you out to see the lights. Or I will get you out to Site 7. I can't promise there'll be lights.
Yeah. I'm already setting myself up for not seeing anything.
I can't stress how much I really didn't think they were going to appear for John. Or I thought maybe they'd be so subtle that he just wouldn't be convinced. Mm-hmm. That he would just walk away going, I don't know.
Yeah, and then I have to wonder, like, oh, will I be able to see them? Like,
well, as I told him several times in the recordings, you'll know when you see him. It won't be a kind of a thing where you're like, I don't know. Yeah, you'll know when you see him.
So this will be like a full-on Patty, like, yeah, that's definitely a Bigfoot kind of situation.
It's definitely weird lights. That's all I can say. It's definitely weird lights. All right, we're going to do a photo of the week now.
All right.
And you get to explain to everybody what an ambrotype is. You can hear me rattling the plastic in which it's...
Yeah, let's pretend this is our little ASMR moment. This is an ambrotype.
Which don't make that sound on their own. It's in a
sleeve. Yeah. Well, the reality is that it's in a half of a case, and which is common because they just split and fall apart over time. You can repair them, but sometimes the covers just...
Well, for the uninitiated, this would be considered a cased image.
It is, yes. So,
and the cases they're really neat. They're little, almost like little frames with covers on them usually, but like you said, the covers off of this.
Yeah, they open kind of like a little book. I mean, like if you didn't know what it was, you might think like maybe it's a little Bible or a little book or something. But when you open it up, there's what they call a pillow on the left side, which is sort of like a velvety or silk material. And then on the right side is the photo, which is encased usually, if it's held up well, under glass with a preserver and a mat to keep it protected. This is an ambrotype, which comes after the daguerreotypes, and so while daguerreotypes are on a sheet of copper with silver on top of it, this is actually on a piece of glass.
Okay. And these are the kind that they have to have something dark behind them to see them?
So sometimes it was painted black with like a varnish behind it, or can have black fabric behind it, or the case itself can have like black paint in it because it you can't see it until you get that black behind it.
But it appears as just an old-timey photo.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I think like if you're first trying to distinguish between cased images, ambrotypes and tintypes can be kind of the trickiest because there's a similarity there in that like daguerreotypes, when you look at them, the only thing that's going to give you that mirrored positive negative back and forth kind of appearance as a daguerreotype. Mm-hmm. Ambrotypes and tintypes can be a little tricky unless you know what you're looking for, or you know the clothing style in which time they would have.
So this is an ambrotype.
This is an ambrotype of kind of a pissed off lady. I just thought like she just looks like grumpy and just.
She looks like maybe her husband went to see the lights at Site 7 and left her home.
Yeah, so she's just sitting home in her black lace gloves with a grumpy look on her face.
No, it's a really neat image, and we hadn't done an ambrotype yet.
The cool thing about ambrotypes is if you pop them out, which I don't recommend you doing unless you know what you're doing, but if you pop them out of their case and hold them up to the light, you can see what kind of glass they're on, and they're not always exclusively clear glass. Sometimes they're on red glass, or
I've seen
kind of a purplish tone, like an amber color.
You showed me some on red glass, I know.
Yeah, they're called ruby ambrotypes.
Okay.
And they actually give like a really, almost like a rosy, warm kind of glow to the photo. In a very subtle way.
But this is not one of those.
This is not one of those, I don't think. I didn't pop it out, but I think it's just a regular ambrotype.
Guess on the year?
1850s, roughly.
1850s. Isn't it amazing that
anything lasts that long?
Yeah, we still have these images from the 1850s.
Yeah, how many other things do you have in such abundance, like antiques even from the 1850s?
Yeah, that are...
photos last a lot longer than a lot of other things. Yeah, this is a woman who's yet to see the Civil War.
Wow, that's actually pretty neat. That's when you think about it like that. Wow. What are you asking for the ambrotype?
I'm asking $25 plus shipping.
$25 for a really, really, honestly, kind of a super neat picture from the mid 1800s. You can own this for $25. No. I mean, not to be a salesman, but no, it's really, really neat when you think about it. Like to own a piece of the past like that.
Yeah.
I just think it's really cool and for not a lot of money. If you go to the show notes under this episode, you can see a picture of the ambrotype. If you click on that, it should take you to our Etsy shop where you can purchase this, and some other photos of the week are still left. We have a whole section there. Just click on photo of the week and it should take you to that. All right, thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back soon with more Strange Familiars. Strange Familiars is a production of Dark Holler Arts, music, books, art, podcasts, and more. darkhollerarts.com. Intro and background music is by Stone Breath. Go to stonebreath.bandcamp.com for more. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/strangefamiliars, and we are on Instagram @strangefamiliars.
Sleeps and smiles.